Today, I'm going to try and survive for 100 days in one of Minecraft's hardest mod packs, RLCraft. This is a mod pack where it is totally normal for a player to die hundreds of times in a single world, because literally everything wants to kill you, including the water you drink and the blocks you mine. But I'm going to play it in hardcore, and not only try and survive for 100 days, but also try to defeat the final boss in that time frame as well. If that all sounds interesting to you, feel free to stick around and watch me make horrible decisions that almost end my world so many times. Alright, so I'm already stuck in a hole. So I start mining out of here like a normal person, and then I'm quickly reminded how annoying RLCraft is. I didn't really have high hopes for this spawn, but when I climbed out, I actually saw a battle tower. I know that there's a chest on top, so I decided to gather some resources so that I can build my way up there. Already, it was a little scary because of the zombie noises I was hearing, and I knew that anything could pretty much kill me in one shot, so I tried to play it a little safe. I wasn't really looking for anything specific, so I just looted everything in the chest. And for some reason I thought it would be cool to look down the staircase, which it wasn't, because there's a skeleton and that would probably have just one-shot me. So I left the battle tower and I guess I got my first monster kill? I don't know. With that easy loot out of the way, I started to gather some normal resources so that I could craft my starting weapons and tools. But it didn't take me long before
Yo, let's freaking go, I found a village, oh my god.
I began robbing the villagers of pretty much everything they owned because villagers don't deserve anything, and I managed to find my first bed and a crafting table, so I pretty much just skipped all of the flint tools and moved straight to stone. I also grabbed some armor I could smelt down to iron later, and some torches because village torches never go out. Once I had everything I needed from here, I went outside and I got some sticks from the nearest tree and built myself a stone pickaxe so that I could start mining cobblestone blocks instead of picking up the little pebbles on the ground. So naturally I went over and I started destroying the villager house for my own benefit. Though it did kind of make me wonder, what do people usually craft first? Personally, I'm a pickaxe kind of guy because I like rock and stone. Once I got my axe, I decided to go around and start gathering some more eternal torches. Of course, I ignored that explosion sound because I'm smart, and then immediately abandoned the village when I saw a dragon. I was hoping I could have taken permanent residence here in this village, but alas, the dragon hath conquereth. So naturally, I moved on with my life and let the dragon burn everything in the village. Instead, I focused on more important matters, like how was I going to cook this skirt? So I chopped down some trees with this brand new stone axe. I looked back at the village and I knew that somehow, someday, I would get my revenge on the villagers because they didn't protect the freaking village. And then I chopped some more wood. Finally, I got back to actually cooking those skirts, and I made myself quite a few iron ingots. Then all I needed to do was get some flint, and I was ready to go into the nether, just by going through that portal I saw earlier when I was running away from the dragon. Once I crafted my flint and steel, I also crafted some doors and decided to break my way into that orb. I knew that as soon as I entered the nether, I would have to build a house around it, otherwise I would probably die day one. And that first battle tower chest I looted gave me just the number of blocks I needed to do so. As soon as I got in, I just prayed that nothing saw me and built the house as fast as I could. Once I felt safe, I used my smooth brain and I started digging a tunnel. Since of course I had no idea where netherwart was, I went back to my hut and I mined a hole in the wall so I could look around for some. Heck, why is it so high up? So I went back into the X smooth brain tunnel and started mining some more until I almost died of heat stroke and had to leave the nether entirely. I knew this would probably take 2 trips anyways, so it wasn't that big of a deal. I figured it was also almost nighttime at this point, so when I left the nether, I immediately went to bed and finally started on day 2. I quickly leveled up my farming and agility to level 2, and then went into the nether and finished my tunnel, where I was finally able to get some netherwart and get the heck out. I was pretty happy with getting this because surviving the nether this early in the game was basically just a dice roll, so I got pretty lucky. So I packed up my gear, and then I slapped some sheepies for extra wool and XP, and found a random house in the woods, which gave me my first 2 diamonds. Shortly after, I found a really nice structure that had a big garden and quite a few villagers in it. Though unfortunately, these villagers were not very good homeowners, and their house was kind of a wreck. But I decided to live here anyways, and started by killing the Maka Alpha that was right outside of our door by throwing a bunch of knives at it. Once it had been defeated, I made my way up there, and I started looting the Maka meat and leather, and ignoring that baby that was just in the floor. With the day just about over, I planted my nether wart upstairs and went to bed. The next day, I fixed up the house a little bit with some of the resources I had and started harvesting some of the garden. I sold all the items I got to some of the random villagers I found, and leveled my magic to 8 with all the XP that I got. Since I pretty much spent the entire day harvesting the garden because it was so big, I started making a little path so I didn't have to swim out of my house. I debated going outside for a little bit, and then I saw a dragon and decided it was not a good idea. Bruh. On day 4, I went out into my backyard to the little creeper face dungeon, and surprise, there was creepers inside. I pulled off a really good swing on my first enemy, and then 2 more swings to finish it off. I built a sword because my axe was definitely going to break at this rate, and I watched as a few more creepers built up before I started attacking them. For some reason, I totally forgot that Grim Reapers can spawn, and I tried killing it without a shield, and it was kind of rough, but I did manage to eventually get it. After the fight, I used my big brain and remembered that shields are actually really important, and I need to craft one. So I did, and then I killed more creepers. Once I finally killed them all, I ended up with 16 levels and a bunch of random items on the floor. Some of them were pretty helpful, but others were pretty lame. And the chest inside was like even worse. So I went back home and I got my building to level 7. My goal here was to get my building and my magic to level 8 so that I could use a brewing stand. I thought I remembered netherwort growing faster than this, but you know, it's okay. So I spent the rest of the day looking at Sonic.
You're too slow!
And then getting attacked by a rock, but skillfully slaying it with my axe. Day 5, my netherwort still hadn't grown at all, so I figured I probably should just plant it somewhere else. It didn't take much exploring before I found a battle tower and a massive Lycanite dungeon. The zombies obviously saw me from like really far away, so I had to slay some of those as they came out. But shortly after, I was able to block off the entrance so that they couldn't get out anymore, and then ran pretty far away so I could find a spot to sleep. I explored some more and found some skeleton skulls, which I was planning on using later for the Lost Cities portal, and some fire ahead, most likely from a dragon. So I went to the right and found some more fire ahead, probably from the same dragon. Eventually I stumbled upon one of the roguelike structures. Yes! And then I found a floating island outside right behind the house. I knew that there was a dragon pretty close, but the chance of getting a potion of flight from that chest was just too good to pass up. And I just wasted like every block in my inventory. So I jumped back down and I went to bed. The next day I chose the combat specialization and started getting some more planks. I made a boat and I parked it underneath a waterfall in the ocean so that I could swim up and go inside of a floating castle I found. I thought it would be a good idea to show off my superior lockpicking skills, and then I jumped off a cliff.
Mushroom.
After grabbing the mushrooms, I continued sailing and ended up finding my second village. And there was more mushroom, so I grabbed mushroom and I sleeped. The next day, I tried making a saddle but realized I had way too many items and managed to tame my first horse. I knew this horse would be my best friend forever, he would never die. So I drove my new forest to a horsey and I found a third village. Of course, I started mining the minecart tracks because I didn't want any banshees to spawn, and then I immediately moved on to taking everything they owned. No! I guess I'm not living here either. While I was there, I got myself some crates, some blaze powder, I got some slime balls from a random aspid that I killed, and I started mining some lapis lazuli blocks on a random structure I found. But I wasn't quite done with this village yet. The next day, I took my axe to the entire library, set a dinosaur on fire, took every arrow I could find, and then I left. Once I got to land, I called my horse because my horse is cool and teleports. But he also kind of creeps me out at night. I grabbed the village waystone in the morning, and on the way home, I saw a dragon, so I had to go pretty far around it. But finally, I was home again, and I was so happy that I just started digging a hole. Actually, I just needed blaze rods, and the only way to do that without going into the nether was killing cinders. So I made a cinder farm. I think it was probably gonna work. Yep, it definitely worked. So I took 2 very impressive swings. Eventually, after I killed one, I got a blaze rod and immediately went upstairs to build a brewing stand. I used one of my precious nether warts for my first batch of potions, and then made a golden carrot for a night vision potion. I tried making a golden spider eye instead of a fermented spider eye. I don't know what I was thinking, but it didn't work. And then I just got really confused and didn't know what I was doing. Eventually, I did figure out how to craft it, and I immediately put it into my potion and got 3 potions of invisibility. But 3 minutes wasn't long enough. So I went out to that place where I killed all those creepers before and mined some of the redstone circuits underneath. I slapped some redstone in those babies and I took a nap. This potion basically makes so I have to be right next to mobs for them to be able to see me, provided I'm wearing either no armor or leather armor. I took my 8-minute invisibility potions, crafted some potion rings, and then crafted a potion ring of speed with one of them. At this point, I felt pretty ready to take on the Lycanite dungeon, so I drank my first potion and I went inside. I got really lucky that thing latched onto my legs instead of my head. Fortunately, I was able to snag some pretty good loot with only 1 close call. And I managed to get 4 recall potions so I could get out of any bad situation instantly. The next day, I started smelting my loot down to make more room in my backpack, and I finally started crafting one of my favorite items, the grappling hook. The grappling hook would pretty much just allow me to climb up things whenever I want and then get down from things without taking fall damage. I ended up going back to the battle tower and planting my nether wart this time out in the open. Turning invisible again, I climbed up the battle tower and I went inside and started mining some of the spawners for XP. I was getting tired of only having 3 hearts on each body part, so I went back into the dungeon to fight my first mini-boss. next floor up had a lot more mobs than I was comfortable with, and there was a blighted mob, so I just decided to leave. On day 14,
Stop it! Stop!
and then I tried to scare away the dragon from the first village.
Look at me! No! No!
Okay, so that was not my best idea. Forgetting that ever happened, I decided to craft some special arrows and a heart from the items the mini-boss gave me. I was on a mission to knock the golem off the top of the battle tower. However, I was rudely interrupted by a skeleton, so I had to go home and sleep and try again the next day. So I climbed back up and... might as well use my levels. I finally was able to get a good line of sight on the golem, and I had my teleport arrows ready. Ow. My second arrow went straight past the golem, so I fired a third one really quick and managed to hit him just before I got teleported. So I went back home and started crafting lockpicks, my invisibility potions, and a few more items just to be safe. On day 16, I grappled my way all the way up to the top of the tower and looted my first battle tower golem chest. From there, I decided to mine some more spawners and loot the chests below. Yeah, my lockpicking skills are so good, you can just call me Skyrim. I mean, I wasn't planning on fighting another mini-boss, but I might as well. Okay, that literally sounded like my friend Zach when someone tries to take his sandwich away. With all this good loot, I decided to end my day by mining a few more spawners and then hitting the sack. On day 17, I started slaying some cinders in my basement. And after that, made a few extra hearts from the crystals the mini-boss dropped, as well as used the soul stone to get another pet. I also gave both of my pets chests so they can hold some stuff for me later. After that, I went back and took the bottom floor of the battle tower on without an invisibility potion. I basically spent the entirety of day 18 packing. At this point, I just decided to pause the game and look up how long it takes for netherrack to grow. Day 20 was finally moving day. Alright, mister, you're done. In my exploration, I found some more skeleton skulls from my portal later down the road, and I raced a zombie that was slowly moving toward me while I built a boat for treasure. Literally just uninstall. Oh my gosh. Okay, bye. The next morning we ventured onward, and I started to gather materials to create a map. I figured it would probably be a good time to start actually mapping the terrain around me, but it also really helped when I was trying to find specific biomes or villages. In my continued ventures, I found some berries and gathered some more materials before I finally ended up finding myself a new village. First things first, I unlocked the Waystone, and then I mined my way into a buried house. The bed inside had the audacity to tell me that I could only sleep at night. So I went outside, I placed 2 blocks, and I just went to bed anyways. I figured this house would actually probably be pretty good for a home, so I started moving in. In the process, I planted my nether wart, tamed a puppy, enchanted my boots. Huh? Excuse me? I created another portal, and finally I slayed this dark boy. Of course, what's a new house without a fresh new set of invisibility potions and apparently nether wart, and to top it all off, a blood moon. Great. I quickly covered up every spawnable surface in my house because I didn't want anything spawning in here. And then, unfortunately, I helplessly witnessed the death of Horsey. It was so tragic. I didn't just want to waste the whole blood moon standing inside, so I went downstairs and started mining. It was all going great until I hit a cave, and then I just covered it up, went upstairs, and I didn't really know what to do for the rest of the night. So I waited around for a few minutes and then went back downstairs, drank an invisibility potion, and checked out the cave. I wasn't about to take any chances, so I went in there and lit the whole place up. I didn't want any grooves to just spawn in there and then fly through the walls into my house, because that would be a very unhappy way for this world to end. After that was all finished, I slayed that tree boy and continued working on my room, which I ended up just turning into a cinder spawner. There was some iron ore in the way on the floor, but I just built around it because I did not want a geonatch spawning in here. And then I got ready with my flint and steel and I lit that baby up. It started working almost immediately, which was good. At the end of the day, unfortunately, I didn't find any good bounties at the bounty board, so I just went to bed. I started day 26 by making my village a safer place and crafting a saddle so that I could get a new horsey. Horsey number 2 was a beautiful horsey and I would never let him die. Also, Draclomer was definitely too hard to remember. I went exploring to the east on my new horsey and found the House of Nerds. I traded with a librarian nerd and just ended up getting rich pretty quick. He didn't really have very good trades for me, but he did really like to talk a lot. And then I went to the secret basement and then into the secret basement and looted all the books and XP tomes I could find. Honestly, this House of Nerds is probably one of my favorite structures because it's super safe and you get so much stuff from it. I mean, look at all those enchanting books. And look at all these arrows. On the way home, my horse crashed into a river and I guess he forgot he was a horse or something. But eventually we did make it home and I replaced one of my farms with carrots instead of wheat. I don't really know why I did this because a Lycanite mob could have spawned out of one of these crops, but are you really playing RLCraft if you don't risk your life harvesting wheat once in a while? Eventually I went back inside and started getting some more leather from chopping helmets and enchanted some of my gear with protection 4. I felt pretty good about this leather gear so far. Of course, my happiness didn't last very long because a mob event immediately happened afterwards and I feel like this just happened. I proceeded with my life and finished enchanting some of my gear, but unfortunately this series of events made me forget how to walk down a staircase. Guys, I'm so good at this game. Before I went to bed, I killed a spooky boy because I wanted a little bit more obsidian. For day 28, I was pretty happy with this gear. I finally started planting all the berry bushes I gathered in my travels, and then mined some of the wheat from the gardens for a little bit of extra XP. Yo, this is massive. But I like Battle Tower. Oops. Now I sleep. Just kidding.
It's Reaper time.
The next morning, I gathered some nether wart, used it to make some heat-resistant potions, and decided to test out my flare gun. Okay, that was stupid. It was time to get another horsey, and also I wanted a tool belt. So I leveled my agility to 4 to equip it. Horsey number 3, you're my best friend. You will never die. Yeah, I didn't really do much that day. On day 30, we rode across a great deal of land all so I could get back to that Lycanite dungeon.
troll didn't really drop a tusk, which is kind of what I was hoping for, but besides that, I got some pretty good loot. The next morning, I crafted myself another heart and a pride pendant, which would give me a pretty good buff for just being at full health. The soulstone gave me a very big tentacle boy, and then I used everything else to just upgrade my gear.
I enchanted my pants, reforged my potion rings, reforged my armor, and made some food.
I didn't quite like how my cinder farm worked, so I made it a little better. Actually, a lot better because I'm getting the XP and it's not burning anymore. Anyways, I went back to that battle tower I found earlier and started mining all the XPs for spawners. I don't really know how it happened, but I got my first wither skull. I always mined to the floor beneath the spawners as well, so that light could shine down into the room below. Since I was here for XP, I smacked a zombie. I finally got a bezoar from a cave spider, so I can now be immune to poison. And then I decided it was probably time to go home. I got another heart, upgraded my attack a little, and then just called it a day. Day 33 was finally the day I started working on a weapon. It wasn't a good weapon, but it was definitely better than my stone spear. I also enchanted a new pair of pants so that I finally had a full set of protection 3 and 4 leather armor,
because those enchantments alone would reduce the damage I take by around 60%.
And then finally, I started looking into how to craft a wither ring. The wither ring would not only give me immunity to wither, but also would heal me when I attack withered enemies. But it did require steel to make it, so I had to make a trip to the nether.
So once again, I drank another invisibility potion and also a potion of heat resistance this time, because it was a lot easier than making like ice armor and cooling liner. Once I was in, I finally checked out my spawn, and of course, I can't even mine the ore. So I left. Actually, I mined some soul sand and then I left. I only needed like 6 levels, but I just went ahead and did 8. So then I actually started mining some synthesite, but I ran into some mobs on the way. But it's okay, I had a nunchuk. While I was in there, I got some bone mushroom spores as well, because I could use those later for potions of flight. And I also got a bunch of glowstone because I wanted some glowing ingots for later as well. Grab me some of that. Yeah. This was probably the dumbest thing I did the entire world. Well, maybe not, but it was pretty bad. I wanted gas tears, and I knew that russet cacodemons drop more than normal cacodemons, and it kind of looked like it was stuck, so I started shooting it, and yeah, my head went to 1 heart. I healed up a little bit, but then another mob event happened. I am so glad I'm invisible right now because I would be completely dead if I wasn't. Go away, chicken. By the time I actually left, I had enough syntheticite for not only my ring, but also my Lost Cities portal. Of course, I didn't plan on going in anytime soon, it was just nice to be ready. On day 35, I fixed up my gear from that stupid cacodemon. And yeah, that was actually about it. On day 36, I upgraded my nunchuck, and I reforged my nunchuck. I made a teleport on a stick by dipping my spear into a scattering potion. And then horsey number 3 and I went to find a flower forest. Thank goodness we found an ocean because man, it was getting hot. So I got in my boat to ride across. Man, that was a long trip. I found a village with a waystone and a pyramid right next to it, so I went down and I looted the chests, which had some pretty alright loot, but by that point it was already nighttime, so I went back home real quick. The next day I crafted a rune reader just because, and crafted some paper so I could trade a villager, and then finally I did this thing the right way and I traded a cartographer for a map to a flower forest. Once I finally found out which way this thing was, I immediately found an ocean and got in my boat. Ooh, this boat is bigger than mine. And then I marked this cool water lycanite dungeon I found on my map, but spoiler Spoiler alert, I never went there. And then I slept. Alright, it's day 39. Time to go look for that flower forest. And that's a green dragon. And that's a sea serpent. Please don't touch me. And everything kind of stuck. Oh, well, would y'all look at that? What a nice village. I, of course, grabbed the waystone, watched a sea serpent do a cool trick, and then ransacked the place. As I was leaving, I found out that boats do not, in fact, float if you put them underwater, but I did find some fish, so I slapped them. And woohoo, I found some more horsies! Yeah, I definitely didn't just forget about horsey number 3. He may or may not still exist somewhere in the world to this day. Oh yeah, day 40 and we found the flower forest. And I even found a waystone, just a random waystone right next to it. So I began farming this forest for pixies and tried to get as much pixie dust as I could in a reasonable amount of time. But unfortunately, they're a rare spawn. Bro, finally I found... Okay, thank you. Right before I was about to leave, I found this blighted crake. So I sniped it to death, and I got a bunch of XP off of it, as well as some heart crystal shards. Then I went home and immediately started brewing my potions of flight and cooking some fish. Potions of wings. I needed some more blaze powder for my brewing, so I went down to the cinder farm and... Hey, get back here. Got some more potions of wings. Crafted an enchanted medkit. Got a power 1 enchantment book. Oh wait, no, that actually wasn't very cool, never mind. Smart me punched out 2 more fire blocks. And then placed a glass trapdoor to aggro the cinders. Okay, I think this is like my peak cinder farm. I used the XP I got to do some enchantment cycling. I was looking for luck magnification 2 to put on my spear. Back to the cinder farm. Back to enchantment cycling. I got bored and wanted to do something else, so I drank a potion of flight and I started looting sky islands. I was hoping to find some more potions of flight, but Amphitheir feathers are pretty good, so... Okay, this island was just terrible. And I got attacked by a Stymphalian bird, but I knew they hunted in a group, and my potion of flight was ending, so I just called my horse and I started chasing them. They're literally hacking. After lots and lots of enchantment cycling, I was eventually able to find luck magnification 2 on my spear. So I enchanted that baby and I got some pretty decent enchantments. But I wanted my defense to be level 12 before I went into the Lost Cities. So close. Because I wanted the under armor perk, which makes so you can't be killed in one hit. I figured it would be pretty important considering I was going in a place where everything would kill me in one hit. So the next morning, I farmed for levels. I killed a lot of wither skeletons. And as it turns out, I actually needed defense level 16. And what better way to do that than slaying a blighted vindicator? I ended up with way more levels than I actually needed for undershirt, so I started putting it into my agility for a bow later, grabbed that undershirt perk, and then put some more levels into attack. Since I did that whole mob farming thing with my Education 2 spear, it was about broken, so I decided to also fix that. It was time for the moment I've dreaded. This was almost as bad as the Netherwart thing right at the start of the game. Actually, no, it was way worse. I carefully created my Lost Cities portal, and then drank my potions before I went in, just to be safe, and then entered in third person like an idiot. This is kind of creepy how quiet it is. How did you see me? Alright, some pretty good loot, but no race ring yet. Ooh. Fairy ring sucks for hardcore. Thank goodness I got under armor. Also, all of my armor is broken. That couldn't have gone any worse. I mean, it could have, but time to craft a full new set of armor with the leather I don't even have. Time to kill some animals to get some leather, or spawn a blighted reaper. Turns out it wasn't actually too bad, and I got a lot of experience off of it. There weren't many animals nearby, so yeah, I decided to make a cow farm. And I also need a lot of XP. You know, this isn't actually too bad. I already got my boots, and this cinder farm is working pretty good. I managed to also get some good pants that day, and on day 49, I got my helmet. Unfortunately though, I ran out of extra XP for level 30 enchantments, so I went back to that big castle structure and started killing some mobs. Once I got some XP off of those, I enchanted my chestplate, and I was back to having a full set of protection 3 and 4 gear. And it only took me 3 days, so it really wasn't too bad. And plus, I have cows now. Day 50, and it was back to the Lost Cities. Well, that was fast. Alright, I learned my lesson. This time I'm paying attention to my debuffs, and if I get fear, it means that something sees me. Oh my word, leave me be. It's looting time. That was a lot of good loot, but it's nighttime, so I'm gonna go home. I went ahead and upgraded my rune reader so that I could check out some of the recipes I got. Unfortunately, none of them were really that worth getting for me. So I just put the runes in a chest and made my cows smoochy smoochy. I still couldn't sleep, so I took some of my medicine. And I walked outside and watched a poor kobold get wrecked. Rest in peace, rat. Oh, well, that makes sense, I guess. I can't sleep because there's a blood moon tonight. So I waited till morning and I teleported back to the flower forest, killed some more pixies, yes, and finally started upgrading my iron skin, which was like 5% damage reduction per level, so like really important. When I went home, I got my potions ready, tried reforging my leather helmet with pixie dust, for some reason, I don't know. And once my gear was pretty okay, I decided it was time to go back into the Lost Cities. Okay, 3rd time's the charm, right? Oh, that chest was empty. Race rings basically just give you a huge benefit depending on what race you find if you're wearing them. However, you can make them permanent by turning them into a food item, which was my next goal. I checked out some of those dumb crafting runes, and then immediately started working for the permanent race transformation. I wasn't quite able to turn into a Phalus yet without wasting one of my bauble slots, so it was time to find some glowing mushrooms. Since I knew it was an underground biome, I went and started looking underground immediately. Not a glowing mushroom biome, but pretty cool. And oh, heart crystals. Okay, got them. We're good. I found a super rare archaeologist villager, which is really pointless. Got some freaking diamonds. Yo, this is the first time I mined diamonds. Took a nap and finally started upgrading my stealth. Honestly, with the invisibility potion, stealth isn't really going to do a whole lot more, but I think it was probably going to be worth it later. I don't know. Did the usual to get some XP. Put some more teleport charges on my pike. got another heart, upgraded my sprint speed, ate the heart, and since I didn't find the underground mushroom biome here, I went to the flower forest and started mining down from there. I immediately got super lucky and got a heart of diamond from the first stoneling I found. I found a blighted skeleton, so I killed that as well since the arrows don't actually do more damage that I know of. I used all that extra XP to upgrade my attack and then a little bit on my stealth just because. Found a interesting structure, got some diamond I guess. Get out of here. And I found another rare underground biome, the underground village. Bro, I can't trust these villagers with anything. They literally have a dragon nest in their village. Like, I don't even think I can loot that place. I started looking around and you've got to be kidding. 2 dragons? How are RLCraft villagers not extinct? Oh, this is interesting. Why do you have a potion effect? I've been down here for a while and mined a lot of heart crystal shards, so I got 3 more hearts. But still no mushroom biome. Hey, back off. Ooh, look, found some more. Bruh. Well, now that I'm back home, I might as well mate some cows, because why not? And I'm gonna craft this potion ring of resistance. I don't have much gold, so yeah, I think healthy will be fine. Bro, I've never seen a cinder before. Got my stealth to level 4, made some more invisibility potions. Went back down to the grind, and heck, might as well upgrade my archery. And it was back to looking for that mushroom biome. I think it's been like 3 days now. Maybe today I'll find it. I found a pretty decently sized cave and abandoned mineshaft, I guessed, in it. So I lowered myself down and... No! Wow, look at that. He's 2 stars. I'm not even gonna try and guess what happened here. Just don't look at me, don't touch me, I'll be on my way. My brain has been wrinkly for far too long, so it kind of smoothed out right here. How'd he see me? He's hacking! So I looked up where this biome spawned finally, and I'm kinda stupid. Bro, you're kidding. Oh my gosh. So I went to my mountain and went underground again. Hopefully I would find it this time. And then I went back home and I crafted my Phalus nip. Oh my gosh, took me like 5 days, but I am cat now. But you can't see it because I'm invisible. Well, this is kind of awkward, but I can jump high. Woo! Bruh, I'm so short now. But I mean, it's probably worth it since being a Phalus does a lot of things, including making me attack faster. Ugh. Ugh. Ow? Okay, this thing's starting to hurt actually. Maybe I shouldn't fight Arguses like this. Okay, finally I killed that thing. And then I went inside and I got advanced looting on a spear. I wonder who did that. Was it you? Okay, he got away. Okay, so my next objective is to get lots of gold. That way I can reforge this ring and probably my other ring. Since mining gold is actually like a really slow way to get it in RLCraft, I decided to start looking for a structure to loot. I spent a decent bit of time looking around. I found this champion creeper, and then I found this like big pyramid thing, which I don't really know what's in it. I think it's like a maze. And then I found that 4-tower castle structure. I don't really know what it's called, but I know there's a lot of gold in here. I started climbing with my grappling hook and then realized that Bailises can just climb by default, which kind of ruins the grappling hook, but you know, whatever. I slapped that explodey boy and then I went up there and started looting. I found a cobalt shield, which was like one of the items that I really wanted, but for reasons I still can't explain, I sent that thing back to Terraria where it belonged. Like, I have no idea why I did that at all.
Apparently it didn't really faze me though, because I just went ahead and leveled up my agility and kept looting. You know, I just love being invisible. Once I got pretty comfortable with the amount of loot I got, I went back home and started smelting some of my gold. And then of course I couldn't forget about the cows. Oh, I just reforged Undying. Well, that costed me all my gold. Okay, back to the tower. It's time to get some more gold. I slapped another bomb and then looted the upper chests, which had some pretty good items, a little bit of gold. And then it was on to the nuggies. All right, that was pretty good. That was a lot of gold. Yeah. Back home with some levels, so I upgraded my agility, my sprint speed, and reforged that ring. Bro. Oh, whatever. At least I have enough to make a heart. Well, I guess I'm at max hearts too. Well, since I am a Phalus, I guess I do get a benefit from Phalus claws. So I guess I'll craft those. Wait, shoot, those are even harder to reforge. But I can reforge my belt, so I might as well do that. It was back to farming for XP, because I only needed a little, but oh my gosh, bro, what are the odds I spawn an Argus in my house? Literally making me fix my gear. Since I was a Phalus, I can run faster, so I ran all the way back to the first Lycanite dungeon I found. I needed a troll tusk for my avian saddle, and I knew that trolls would spawn down there and I could get XP while I waited, so it was pretty worth it. Oh yeah. Now with that tusk and all these avian treats that I could make with my fish, I could make an avian saddle with those feathers I found earlier and hopefully tame a rock. But I needed a soul gazer first, and a soul stone so that I could bind it to me. And I killed a cinder. It didn't take me too long before I found a rock, but I only had enough treats to get this thing to knowledge rank 2, not to actually start taming it. I needed more treats. In the meantime, I put some Aussie liner on my chest plate so that I could get some shielding from temperature, and I slapped a bunch of cows just to put leather in my storage. I remember where I found those fishies earlier, back at that port village, so I went back there and I started snapping those boys. I don't like... what even is that? Alright, I want to say this is enough. I'm not really sure, but I hope it is. In the meantime though, I found another tower and I looted it for its gold and its top chest treasures. I counted up all the gold I had so far and started reforging again. Now that I had pretty much enough avian treats and enough everything for a rock, I was just kind of waiting for nighttime. I crafted quite a few useful items and restocked on my invisibility potions and such, and eventually night came around, so I started looking. It didn't take very long for me to find one, holding a creeper, but it ended up taking 14 out of my 15 treats to tame it. There's probably set numbers for these things, but statistics, schematics, am I right? I felt pretty good that I finally had a flying mount. Granted, it was day 60. Honestly, I didn't really need the flying mount until I fight the bosses and dragons, so I guess day 60 isn't really too bad. On day 61, I took my rock out to a battle tower because dragon bone equipment required level 24, and I needed a lot of levels to get to that. The invisibility was once again very worth it, as I pretty much mined every spawner in here without anything targeting me. Unless I slapped them first. So I got back on my rock and I looked for another battle tower. Yoink. Ow. No. That's what you get. That's pretty good. Today was pretty successful and I got a lot of XP and diamonds. I proceeded to blow all of my levels on my attack for just one level, and then started upgrading my gear a bit more.
I needed some XP, so I was pretty happy to see this blighted skeleton just chilling out my door, and then I used its levels to upgrade my attack to level 23 and put another level into my archery. It took me until now to realize that I didn't know where my cobalt shield was, so I started looking for it in all the tower chests. Little did I know, I threw it back to Terraria. After an unsuccessful mission, I just decided to explore a little more and ended up finding this giant village. Grabbed that waystone, and then I found yet another castle tower thing. Relax guys, it's just part of life. I went back to the tower at night and looted some of the rooms I hadn't already looted. I got some pretty decent books like mending and I found another mending. Bro, I feel like I've exploded so many towers. This time though, I looted the chests like a grappling pro. Like, get out skilled, imagine not even jumping, what are you even doing? And with all those levels, I finally got to level 24 attack. The first thing I did with my mending books is I put one on my enchanted medkit, which made so it was basically an infinite medkit, and then the other on my education spear since I used it so much. Anyways, mending number 3 went on my pants. It was time to make a diamond bow because the last thing I need to get dragon bone equipment was to kill a dragon. Now that I have a flying mount, this is going to be so much easier than it would be on foot. However, in order to make this bow good, I needed some more XP, so I found a battle tower and I went straight to the bottom to kill the golem. But things didn't quite go as planned, so I was forced to recall. Teleport spear, why you no work? Again, I faced the unfortunate truth of leather armor and had to repair it. It was day 64 when I found another green lycanite dungeon, so of course I had to go in and check it out. Huh. Definitely could have killed that, I guess. Since it was still the middle of the day, I went back and explored some more. Pretty much the entire reason I was going through the first green lycanite dungeon was to find one of these things. I forgot the magic level requirement was 16, but I immediately went to reforging this thing. Basically how it works is if I were to die, it just takes away so many hearts instead of actually killing me, and I can only get those hearts back when I sleep. So this thing plus undershirt equals a much easier time surviving. Also, the cross necklace works the same way it does in Terraria, so obviously wearing that. Now that I had this thing, I just went and started getting more XP. Once I got my agility level high enough, I'd be able to use a dragonbone bow as well as the dragonbone sword. Once I got one of these bows, then I would pretty much be ready to fight the lycanite bosses. Instead of sleeping that night, I fought my first dragon. I managed to kill it without taking a single hit, but it was all thanks to my rock. Before looting it, I collected some fire dragon blood, and then I started collecting the bones. The fire dragon blood was pretty much the main reason I killed this dragon, because it would allow me to make some of the best weapons in the game. I made this fancy canteen, and then I started making my dragonbone bow. Once I had that created, I combined it with my dragon blood and created a flame dragonbone longbow. I made a few more and gave them level 30 enchantments, as well as reforged my bow with the leftover bones. After combining all the bows, this is what I ended up with. And I'd say it was pretty dang good. I of course had to test it out outside at night, and yeah, everything just got one shot. With that out of the way, I decided to loot one of the battle towers I missed, and finally that teleport spear worked. I guess I'll take that. Now that I had all the gear that I needed for the bosses, the next thing I needed was some actual resources. One of which was getting a respawner statue from one of these places. Basically, this thing would let me use a recall potion in any dimension, so if I had a problem with one of the bosses, I could just recall away. While I was in here, I figured I could also kill some mobs for extra XP and upgrade my archery some more. Once I found the 3 respawner statues I needed, I went back to the overworld and took a nap. On day 68, I crafted some precious TNT arrows, I made a bauble reforging station, which was different than the normal one, and reforged my baubles, and then I set out to look for the end fortress. Once I was here, I figured I should mark it on my map like everything else, and by the end of the night, I finally found the portal room. Yo, end portal? More like easy portal! Good spawn? Heck yeah. First things first, I'll set up my respawner statue, and then I was pretty much safe to start blowing up those end crystals. The TNT arrows were super helpful because they got the ones in the cages, but then it was just basically on to killing the dragon, which really it was just a battle of me being accurate with a bow. But I mean, this bow did so much damage, that thing died real quick. And with that, my first boss was finally defeated. Now that the Ender Dragon was defeated, Ender Biotite spawned all over the island, so I could start mining that for the Rahovart altar. Of course, he also dropped tons of XP, so I used some of it on my arrow speed and some more of it on my iron skin. The rest of it I just left as levels. Oh man, thank you Minecraft for healing me back to max health. Anyways, next up was to kill some withers. I needed nether stars to do pretty much anything with the Lycanite boss summoning altars, so I mined down to bedrock where it was easy and safe to fight them. And my first wither was a champion. It's too bad I just have to outskill you, I guess. Eligor. One wither down, another to go. The second one was easy, so, we just skip that. I guess I might as well upgrade my athletics. And I'll use my nether star on a soul key. In order to get the demon soul stone for the demonic soul cube to fight Rahovart, I first needed to kill an Ebon Cacodemon. Or find some other way to get a demon soul stone, but this was the easiest. Things got pretty hectic pretty quick, but overall it wasn't too bad, and this guy honestly just reminded me of that one time where I made that really bad call with the Cacodemon in the nether and almost died. I don't like Cacodemons anymore, so take that, nerd. Once I got the soul stone and all the levels, I just went ahead and went home and started on creating more of the altar. Actually, all I needed was this red stone, and then I had everything I needed to make the soul cube. Since Rahovart's first phase was the part I was the most scared about, I made some diamond arrows to help me get through that. And then I had the great idea to put the teleport charges on my nunchucks instead of my spear, since my nunchucks hit so much more often. After making another key and tweaking my gear a little bit, I was ready to go into the nether. First things first, I set up my respawner statue, and then I went up close to the roof of the nether and mined out an area that I could start building this altar. In all, the altar took 16 obsidian and 4 diamond blocks.
Come here, big boy. I ain't scared.
Alright, so for context, if you would have gotten any more of those flames around him, he would have spawned a giant firewall that could have easily killed me. But he didn't, so we're happy, and we killed our first Lycanite boss. Also, look at all this loot. I don't know what I'm going to do with half of it, but I got a little levels, so that's cool. Okay, time to go home. Now that Rahovart was defeated, it was on to collecting materials for the next boss, Asmodeus. The first thing I did with all of that extra XP was reforge my baubles until I got better modifiers on them. Just passively getting more damage, health, or defense was super nice. And I used the other reforging station and got lucky with an undying modifier on my Bazaar. Oh yeah, there's also this achievement quest system sort of thing, so I just claimed every single one of those rewards. Granted, all it is classy hats, but let's be honest, that's the only reason we're playing RLCraft here. Nope, I'm sticking with the Sprout. I shouldn't be using a backpack. On day 72, I leveled up my archery and created 2 more soul keys with the nether stars I got from Rahovart. I used one of the soul keys to spawn the Crimson Epion, which would drop me an Aberration Soul Stone. This fight started out fine, and it shouldn't have been too hard at all. I was dodging, I was shooting this thing, until I got hit because I was bad at dodging. Though it really didn't hurt that bad, and I just ended up killing it afterwards, so skill issue. All I needed now was purple stone, and then I had enough to make the aberrant soul cube. I think stealth is actually going to help me somewhat on this boss, so I upgraded that, and then took a nappy. Whee! Back to the end, set my spawn, and then we fly all the way across the void. Can I just say, the void sucks. I hate it. I honestly hate it in every hardcore world ever. I set up the altar and was about ready to spawn Asmodeus when suddenly I got attacked by a Crimson Epion. I see you're back for round 2. Long story short, I couldn't find the drop. I'm coming for you.
Asmodeus.
That didn't go well. Thank you, Undershirt. Thank you, Broken Heart. Look at my max health. This is the risk of fighting these bosses with leather armor. Well, after healing up, I guess we just go back. Hello there, Asmodeus. Wait, his shield's up. I'm not seeing any of his normal minions that give him the shield, so I guess I'll just kill all of them? Normally he's supposed to have these minions around him, and then I kill those and his shield goes down. I guess maybe unloading those minions glitched out his shield, and now he's permanent invincible. Okay, I guess I'm just gonna have to spawn another one. Also, I forgot to get this dragon egg, so I'm gonna get that. Well, that's unfortunate and probably gonna be a pretty big waste of materials. Like, I'm running out of diamonds, and I also need more nether stars, so I guess it's back to grinding a bit more. And I guess I haven't leveled up my melee, so I'll just level that up. Now, I guess I'm just gonna have to go into the nether and farm some wither skulls, because without withers, I'm not gonna have any nether stars to fight these bosses with. So that's exactly what I did. I knew that that big fortressy area where I found the respawner statues had a lot of spawners for mobs that would drop wither skulls, so I went there and started killing quite a few. Even though they dropped it, the drop rate wasn't exactly the most common thing. I say that and then looting gives me 3. I spent the rest of the day in there, or night rather, grinding and killing all those enemies until I had a comfortable amount of wither skulls. I didn't want to have to run out again and come back in and get more, so we're just playing it safe. Since I had the dragon egg and lots of blaze rods from my cinder farm, I used them to create a shield of honor, which was basically like another ring of resistance, and it gave me like a ton of explosion damage reduction. Oh, also it ignores damage on every 5 hits. After crafting that, I created a black dragon scale and fused it with my bezoar to create a mixed color dragon scale, which basically was just an all-in-one bauble that gave me immunity to wither and poison. Withering, you are pointless. Time to go exploring. It was way too cold since it's the winter, so I made some cold resistance potions. I wasn't about to get hurt the entire time I was exploring. Also, it was time for nappy. I wanted a melee weapon, so it was dragon slaying time. Yoink that boy for all his bones. And I think I'm gonna make a longsword. Since weapons are really scary to put on the enchantment table, I just enchanted it with books. The enchanting table can just ruin them with all those extra stupid enchantments. I also reforged my Shield of Honor, which was pretty dang expensive. Yeah, I just got 3 nether stars with this new sword. Sometimes it hurts being this good, you know? Day 77, and I'm fighting the Crimson Epion for the 3rd time. By this point, I'm just hoping this guy doesn't stall my 100 days out. So I grabbed the Soul Stone and created another Aberrant Soul Cube. Unfortunately though, I needed 4 diamond blocks, and I was pretty much out of obsidian at this point. So it was time to go exploring again. I stopped by a few different battle towers and looted the top chests and just teleported the golems off. But the winter was too cold, so I had to teleport home and take a nap. Okay, I had to drink a potion of cold resistance and then go to bed. Except I also wanted to kill that. On day 78, I made great use of my cold resistance and went into the desert. There was this fancy underground chest that had 5 whole diamonds in it, and an extremely unnecessary risk involving a dragon. Since I was here, I killed some husks that were underground because they have a rare drop that was really helpful, but unfortunately none of them dropped it. In my travels, I found another village, but I just left because I didn't really want to do anything there. I need diamond, not villages. Stop giving me villages. And I'm not even going there. You know, whatever, I'm gonna grab this waystone too. Okay, finally, found a Doom-like dungeon. This thing should have a lot of diamonds in it. Well, that was productive. A whole 13 diamonds. I think I'm going to change my strategy here and start going for mining perks. I need more obsidian, and Grim Reapers just aren't going to cut it, so I'm just going to level up my mining. I'll also use this wonderful pickaxe that I found while looting that nether structure and enchant it with Fortune 2. That should solve my diamond problems, hopefully? I started exploring underground and didn't really find a whole lot to begin with. And as I was running around, I pretty quickly found an underground dragon nest, which can hold tier 4 or 5 dragons. I really don't want to mess with those right now, so I just turned around. Why is it that when I'm not looking for these nests, I find them? And when I am looking for them, I don't? Bro, what are the odds? Isn't this like a 10% drop? Okay, so not a whole lot of luck on diamonds, but I did get another potion ring of resistance, which puts me at resistance 3. That's literally 60% damage reduction. That's like super OP. I went back underground, back to that one place that I was at before, and continued looking for a diamond. I found an underwater river and could barely see, but there was some diamonds in it. Actually, there was quite a few diamonds in it. And then I ended up finding my way back to that one underground village I found, which had quite a few diamond spawns in it as well. After finding a few more veins of diamond after that, I finally ended up recalling. I upgraded my gear a bit, crafted some diamond blocks, made a soul key, and upgraded my shoes because feather falling is cool. Now that I finally had everything I needed to fight Asmodeus again, I headed back to the end portal. Once I went in, I basically did the exact same thing I did last time. I set my spawn, flew across the void, and crafted an altar. It's time for round 2, you dumb.
Asmodeus.
get dunked on, get destroyed. Oh my gosh. I literally only have one more boss to do. And of course it's going to be the hardest one, but I mean, I've gotten this far. I can get it right. So of course I headed home and did not take the end teleporter this time because I hate going down to 3 hearts. And I used the nether stars to craft another soul key and the XP to upgrade my iron skin to max, which gives me 25% damage reduction. I don't really know how that calculates with the resistance 3, but you know, it's a lot of damage reduction. On day 82, I figured it was probably about time to upgrade my longsword. I stuck 2 more Dragonbone longswords on the enchanting table and got pretty good enchantments, Vampirism 2 and Lifesteal 2.
You were trying to sneak up on me.
Dragon blood, and more dragon blood, and dragon bones. Oh. That mimic just dropped an item that gives me slightly increased knockback and takes up a bauble slot. Pass. Oh yeah, also I flew all the way back here to this green Lycanite dungeon so that I could kill this Gru. He tried jump scaring me, but it's not really a jump scare when you know it's coming. So I finished him off and he dropped me an undead soul stone, which was the item I needed for the undead soul cube to fight the Amalgalich. On the way home, I witnessed the natural order of things. But fortunately, this is not a game with skill-based matchmaking, so I grabbed my spoils and took my leave. On day 83, I did the same thing I did at the start of the previous day, and my first enchantment was actually pretty sweet. Oh my gosh. Oh. The next one was pretty cool, but I don't really know what Lunar's Blessing is, so whatever. And I'm stopping right there because just one of my 2 swords cost 53 levels to merge. I proceeded to make some greenstone and then used my greenstone to make my undead soul cube. And then it was on to getting more XP, which Cinder Farm wasn't going to give me enough, so I just went into the nether. Whoa! And my portal's broken! Okay, so I think lesson learned here is that don't put portals in your base, because I'm pretty sure every time a mob walked in, it just stayed in my nether portal in an unloaded chunk in the nether. Or wait, no, it would be a loaded chunk, I think. Oh yeah, by the way, things aren't going too hot. This is how my audio sounds right now. So yeah, I got out of there and figured maybe nether farming wasn't really the best way of getting XP. So I crafted a flint and steel and I left. I don't really like where I placed this portal. Yoink, 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 yoink.
50 levels, let's go easy.
All right, burrito time. Except unfortunately I only have a few of these items. Time to find some bokobos and aspids. I couldn't just pass a battle tower, so yeet. Hey, now my sword one-shots too. Bro, this loot. I must continue my journey. After killing an ice dragon, because I haven't seen an ice dragon yet.
Parkour.
Mimic. Yeah. Yeah. Sacrificial amulet! Pokeball! Battle burrito! Ah! The sacrificial amulet is basically just an amulet that is destroyed once I get 100 kills, but it gives me a special chest. So of course, I had to go get 100 kills because I wanted that chest. It could give me a random piece of armor which could be really helpful, or just something completely garbage. 100 kills later, I got the loot chest and then pulled X407 prototype chestplate. Wow. Alright, back to the nether. I actually needed a bit more pinky meat, but I also wanted some of the nether reeds as well as some of the synthesit because I wanted to craft a pickaxe. I already had one, but now that I have all these levels, I wanted to make another one and enchant it onto my first one. So I gave it Unbreaking 3. I was looking for efficiency, but you know, who could pass up Unbreaking 3? And then I made another one and enchanted it with Advanced Efficiency. Advanced Efficiency would definitely help me with mining obsidian, and I definitely need more obsidian for my altar. And I used pinky meat to get more burrito. It gives me strength 4, absorption 4, regeneration 2, resistance 2, and rejuvenation, so kind of a good burrito. Since I had to go into the Lost Cities in order to fight the Amalgalich, I also wanted to make a waystone. And since I had this great pickaxe for mining obsidian, all I really needed to do is get the obsidian mining perk, and I was smashing through obsidian in no time. I actually ended up mining a lot more than 16 obsidian because I wanted to make an entire house of obsidian floating in the sky in the Lost Cities. It would basically function as a safe house whenever I wanted to go in, so it would completely take away the RNG of being swarmed by mobs as soon as I went in. Okay, almost 2 stacks of obsidian later, and I think I'm ready to go in. I don't think I'll ever get over how creepy it is, how quiet it is in there. After finishing the safe house, I crafted a polarized stone and went to bed. I went back to the flower forest because I wasn't about to risk walking around on the floor in the Lost Cities. That was basically just a death sentence. With my setup, I mean. So as soon as I got the pixie dust I needed, I went home and I created 6 potions of wings. This one's a bit of a weird one, but in order to fight this boss safely, I had to create some dirt buckets. You can't place or mine blocks directly in any of the boss arenas, but for some reason if you have a dirt bucket, you can place the dirt from the bucket and the game won't get mad at you. So I can place 13 blocks now. The unfortunate part about this is that Lost Cities mobs can still mine blocks. So I basically just don't want to get seen at all. Oh, hello. Now I just need to put some more teleport charges on my nunchucks and get a bunch more feathers for arrows. Oh yeah, look at those feathers. Just look at it. Diamond arrows. Oh. Okay, so back to the Lost Cities. And I'm actually going to fight the Amalgalich this time. Just like any other boss, the first thing I did was set my spawn so that I could recall if I needed to. And then this time I drank every potion I could with a long buff, because I wanted everything I could to protect me against the Lost Cities mobs while I make the altar. Once I found a good spot, I pillared high into the air where it was a lot safer from mobs, well for now at least, and then I started crafting the altar. Probably one of the hardest parts about this was trying to figure out how to set up my hotbar, because I was just panicking. I had no idea what to do. I spent a good bit setting up my potions in my hotbar before I realized I needed to place my dirt buckets. So then I shifted a bunch of those down. But I also forgot I need the key in my hotbar to use the altar. So I put that in there as well. Eventually, I was finally ready to fight the Amalgalich. Alright, 2 things. 1, I shot that thing so many times. 2, if that thing touched me, all of my armor would have been broken and I would have been almost dead. I think a stray arrow must have hit it or something because it shouldn't have been able to see me, but you know, we try again. But first I have to wait out the pull because if I go in there and he starts pulling me in, there's nothing I can do about it and I'm pretty much dead. Round 2, baby. You're going down this time, boy. And with that, I got my first Amalgalich kill in a hardcore RLCraft world. Despite the risks, I of course had to get the loot because who wouldn't get the loot from the hardest boss? And I guess a lot of levels as well. Holy cow. Yo, this is crazy. I still am in the Lost City, so now that I have my pendant, I think I'm just gonna leave. With the Amalgalich slain, I finally completed my main objective for the world before day 100. However, I wasn't done yet. The first thing I did when I got back was reforged my Wrath Pendant. I got a good modifier on the Bauble reforging station, but I had to use Spectral Silt for the normal one, and I ran out and I got a horrible quality. I also found out that the Amalgalich isn't the only way to get this item. If you find a Shivaxi monument like one of these, and you go inside one of these little houses and loot the chests, there's a random chance you could find a Wrath Pendant. Why is this a thing? I don't know. The Wrath Pendant is literally like the unique drop from the Amalgalich. Everything else you can get from other places. Oh yeah, and this structure is in the overworld, so like there's no risk at all. You can just grab it. Anyways, it was day 91 and I already beat the Amalgalich, so what do I even do next? I kind of fumbled around and leveled up all my stuff, just using all my levels, going for maxed gear, and I came to the conclusion I didn't want my Amalgalich fight to go to waste, so I decided to go find some more Spectral Silt for reforging my Wrath Pendant. I got a few from the basement of one of those 4-tower castle structure things. And then I decided to go to the Nether because, you know, could probably find some there. Yeah, that happened again, and I had to get flint to relight my portal. Lesson learned here, just don't put your portal right underneath your base. It was a terrible idea. I didn't find any Spectral Silt in there, but I did find another respawner statue for my house. For some reason, my recall potions were glitching out, so that was the only way I could think to fix it. Day 93 came around, and I still couldn't get the right modifier on my Wrath Pendant. Considering this could take me like 2 or 3 stacks of Spectral Silt, I was forced to decide on another goal for day 100. It was about then that a light bulb went off in my head, and I realized, what even is a hardcore RLCraft world without getting a dragon? So I pulled out my atlas and went to one of the dragon markers on my map. I was looking for a dragon egg, which could only be obtained as a drop from one of the underground dragons of tier 4 or higher. And it also had to be a female dragon, but the drop wasn't even guaranteed. Thankfully, I'd been marking dragons on my map just out of habit, so there was quite a few nests that I had to explore. This one in particular didn't give me anything, unfortunately, so I had to look elsewhere. Oh, wait. No, that's a heart. The next area that I went was back to that underground village. Remember that mining village where the villagers just kind of let 2 dragons make nests in? Yeah, I decided to disturb their slumber. Because, you know, it's as the old miner sayings go, if dragon don't hurt village, village hurt village, then toasters don't toast, 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 toast. Ah! Didn't like that. And it was all for nothing. Well, time for 3rd dragon. And oh, this nest is a lot bigger than the other ones. I guess this one's probably the tier 5. Since tier 5s do a lot more damage, I'm just gonna make a safer way to kill this thing by mining straight up. I also drank a potion of flight because, you know, it's not as if I was gonna use a potion of flight after I got a dragon, right? And this guy was the easiest one yet. I just rained fire arrows from above and he died. Or was it a she? Oh, it was a she. I guess she was part of a mixed family because she dropped a green egg instead of a red one, but, you know, I'll take a green dragon. Wait, are dragons racist? In order to grow this guy to be a full-grown adult, I had to get so much meat. It was going to take 125 of this dragon meal for my dragon to get to max stage. And each one of these took 4 pieces of meat, so it's a lot of meat. Thankfully, my cow farm actually gave me a head start. It was now time to hatch my dragon. So I went underground and I made a safe little room and I gave him a little fire and put his egg in it. And then I waited. Baby dragon! Have some food. It make you bigger. Now get in the horn. Now that I have a baby dragon, I've got like 6 days to get all the food for it. Thankfully, I've got a cow farm and a looting weapon, so shouldn't be too bad, right? But that didn't solve the problem of bones for the meal, so I went and I killed a bunch of skeletons. Ugh, I don't even have a stack yet. I went outside and I summoned my dragon so that I could feed him his 46 food. Big boy. How do I get off? Okay, big boy, back in the horn. Oh, wait, that's not it. Wait, you are a woman? Get in horn, woman. I got some spectral silt from getting bones and I actually got the modifier I wanted. So, hey, I guess I'm getting all of my goals done.
Yes!
I also maxed my stealth today, so that's pretty cool too. And then I looked at dragon armor pieces, and yeah, there's no way I was gonna get the diamond for that. So I actually opted for gold, and I knew exactly where to find some. So I went back to the same place I always go in the Nether, and I yoinked a bunch of chests of all the gold that I could find, including the armor and like all the stuff I could smelt down. And then I demonstrated some amazing parkour.
I'm burned! My flesh is burned! Fire!
Honestly, I'd be lying if I said that wasn't impressive. After smelting all of that gear that I got and turning all my gold into blocks, I still didn't have enough. So I went back. After another full day of looting gold, I came back and I actually did have enough gold blocks to make all the armor. Actually, I had a bit more than enough. And while I was at it, I also made all the dragon meal I could with the current cow meat that I owned. I needed more bones though, and what better place to find bones than this random skeleton battle tower that I found? Like, what are the odds that it's just all skeletons? Dragon nests also have bones in their chests, so...
Yoink. Give me that.
It was a vicious cycle. But hey, I almost had all the bones I needed. The next day, I started looting more bones, but from chests this time. That easily gave me enough bones, so it was on to just killing a bunch of random animals for their meat, just so my dragon can chompy chomp. Well, Reaper, goodbye for the last time. And finally, I reached day 100. Today is the day I shall ride my dragon to victory. After crafting a bit more meat, I went outside and I let my dragon out of the horn. Yo, stage 5! Have some golden armor. And you are way bigger than I thought. Oh my Bjork. After eating all that food and getting all that armor, my dragon was ready to slap. Alright, dragon, we fly south. Wait, where the heck am I? Why is my camera so high up? I'm not sure how I feel about this, but you know, whatever. Oh, look at that dino. am looting a dragon that I killed with my dragon. Oh, hello there, little Maka. Dragon, I've decided I shall name you Dinnerbone. I mean, what did I expect? I guess not this. This is stupid. Onward, dragon. Oh, no, wait. Okay, wrong button. Attack the dragon! Oh, wait, I killed it. Oops. Yeah, you roar at him. Is that a village? All right, this reminds me of a very specific situation that happened on day 1, actually. When that dragon did the thing to the village. Perhaps it is time to get revenge on the villagers for not protecting their village. I mean, there's not even another right option here, is there? I have become dragon. And of course I have to get the waystone. Well, it was a good run. I got my dragon, I beat the Amalgalich, I did pretty much everything I wanted to in this world. Plus, I even ended up learning a thing or two on how to build a good cinder farm. So, this was a really fun challenge. I'm glad I didn't die though. I think that would have probably made it not as fun. Oh, good night, dragon. After slaying the Ender Dragon, lots of mini bosses, all 3 Lycanite bosses, and getting a maxed out dragon all in hardcore, I'd say all of my goals and more were accomplished in this world. If you enjoyed this video, made it all the way to the end, and you want to see more content like this, feel free to like and subscribe. Hardcore games are some of my favorite, so if you want to see another game or mod pack on my channel, go ahead and leave a comment. I'll be sure to consider some of the most liked comments for future videos. Though, I'll probably take a break on videos of this length, since I am my own video editor and it took me practically 5 months to make this one alone. Thank you all so much for supporting my channel. Your support is what drives me to put in the effort I do on videos like this, and I don't consider the effort wasted if at least a few people liked what they watched. Until next time, boys.